Stafford Motor Speedway. Always an awesome race. Always puts on a good show. And this is your ideal short track conditions here. Let's take a look at the points real quick. Jeff Ward in the lead of those points for the regional there. Jason Anderson 3 points behind now. He's got some issues. He's been talking about they haven't been able to get the brake bias figured out ever since the last race. So he's having hardware issues along with possibly software issues. He's got a lot on his plate going into tonight's race to capitalize on that regional championship. As far as the big picture looking at here, Jason Anderson is up to second on the national points here. But look for Sonny Thompson and Jason Taylor. They've been making all these races, and they're looking to settle who's going to be in fifth on points. All right, row 3 is going to be Jason Anderson in the 5 out of Statesville, along with Sonny Thompson in the 4 out of Statesville. So Statesville and North Carolina getting represented from the back here. We'll see what they can make happen going into the race. Looking at row number 2, Kevin Dye coming out of South Carolina. Jason Taylor in the 51 from Mooresville, North Carolina. They'll be starting to ride behind your first row. Jason Taylor, winner from last week. So look for him to carry that momentum on forward along with Sonny Thompson there. Row 1's going to be Jeff Shrewsbury in the 22 out of Mooresville. New guy, and of course out of Kentucky we got the champ, the main man, the man who makes the music for all this kind of stuff. It's Jeff Ward in the number 9. So a lot of action, a lot of great short track drivers here tonight. Here we're getting ready to get started. You can see right there, these guys are having a pretty rough time in practice getting out of turn 4. As you can tell by how the rubber kind of laid down by the guys spinning out there. So that's going to be something to watch for. These guys getting onto the throttle a little too early, breaking loose. They've got to set these cars up loose to be able to roll the bottom on this track, and that's kind of where the fast lane is. A lot of good drivers out in this field today. Jeff Ward, he's got some race wins. Jeff Shrewsbury, new of course. Jason Taylor with a race win. Kevin Dye, a lot of several races under his belt. Looking pretty strong here so far today in practice. Sonny Thompson with the race win, of course, and Jason Anderson shotgun on the field. He's been having some issues, though, starting at the last race. He was at, when we were at the New Hampshire Legends Oval, said he was having some issues with the brake bias there. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that for him, see if he's fixed those issues or if they're still having it. Pace car's pulled off, and they're just waiting on the green flag here. Green is out. They're going to start working their way up through the gears. Real short gearboxes here in this race. As Jeff Shrewsbury's going to power off the outside and take the lead early on. We even got looks like the only guy up top right now is Jason Anderson. As he even gets a little loose trying to use that top side, but he's going to get in front of Sonny Thompson. Jeff Shrewsbury still pulling away. The newcomer already leading out in front of the pack here. He's got about 4 car lengths as he's heading into turn 1 here. He's arcing the turn just a little bit differently. That could have been different on this one. He might have been a little out of shape on entry there, driving it in deep, but we're seeing him put quite a gap on the rest of the field here as we got Jason Taylor looking to squeeze in on Jeff Ward just a little bit. This is a required pit stop race. They're not able to put a full fuel amount in it. And the word in the garage area is you can almost make it on 1 pit stop here. So 1 pit stop is required, and it might be enough fuel, but you got to play it smart here. Looks like Jeff Shrewsbury is already planning on a 2-stop race as he's kind of burning up everything he's got in him there. Oh, Kevin Dye, we see right there. Drove in way too deep, ended up catching a little bit of the fence there. Keep an eye on that, see how much that slowed him down. But it looks like Jason Anderson's already fallen way back on the field here. Still having some brake bias issues. So what it appears to be is, yep, he's going to get loose again. with that same car setup that he had. He's having a lot of struggles here working on that car. He's going to go down a lap down. As now we see Jeff Ward. He's starting to start reeling in that 22 car. Jeff Ward there, champion in the number 9. Jason Taylor not too far back from him. As we see there, already the difference in lines, we got Jeff Shrewsbury. He's got kind of a late entry to that turn, cuts off that apex, makes it farther along the circle there. And then we got Jeff Ward. He's just rolling the bottom of this thing. That's going to let him cut into that lead each lap here. It looks like he's able to roll the bottom just a little bit faster than what Jeff Shrewsbury's doing. Now he's looking a little high there. Jeff Shrewsbury loose on exit there. Turn 4, we've been saying it's been getting a lot of people here. As Jason Anderson is still in the pits, or just out of the pits now. And another spin out. Another spin out for the 5 machine. That was a race winner at Lanier. They just haven't quite got that car what they needed it to do here. Back up front, battle for the lead. Jeff Ward looking more and more on the inside here. He's actually started to hammer down. He's leaving the rest of the field. Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor's about 2 seconds back from that battle. Playing it safe, playing it smart here. They're going to be saving a lot more fuel along with Sonny Thompson. Going real easy on that fuel usage there. Kevin Dye, we saw him have some contact with that outside wall. He got a little bit of damage on that right front. Couldn't be helping him to turn much right there. Just a little bit of damage, especially on that right front. Who knows what it could have done to the steering inputs and even damage that tire. So losing that much grip early on is going to be a big setback. He's going to have to push it as hard as he can to make it that fuel window and hopefully change out at least the right side tires. That's going to be another thing, is looking at who's changing right side tires, who's changing all 4, or if anyone throws in a crazy play and just tries changing left sides. We've seen it just about all here in the Top Flight Computers National Series. Don't be surprised when you see someone try a real Hail Mary and try a real crazy pit strategy. Jeff Ward can get almost right up to that left rear as he's driving it into the inside of these turns. As you can see, he gets right up to that bumper. He's got a lot more power driving it in. Shrewsbury looking like he's got a little bit more speed on the exit of that thing. As those two Chevrolets keep battling it out here. Jason Taylor hasn't fallen back too much more. Still about 2.5 seconds back. I think he's being pretty smart. Jeff Ward, we just saw there, all the way down on the apron. Using every bit of that track down. Now it looks as though they're playing it smart here, taking that high side. High lane around. Yep, Jason Anderson, unfortunately, having to go back into the pits. He's still got some more repairs to make on that thing. It's going to be a long race day for that team, as they're trying to sort out anything they can on that right there. Kevin Dye coming out of the pits. A little early for that fuel stop there. Now he's in it. Yeah, I don't think he even changed tires there. Might have been just for a damage call. Pulling a fender off of the tire or something, but he's going to end up going a lap down as well. Back up front, Shrewsbury, the new guy, trying to do everything he can to hold off on the champ here. Door to door now. Jeff Ward from the inside. He's using that apron. He's using a lot more track than anyone else. Turning it in way harder. We see him actually use that line, but it's on the exit where he's chopping off that apex. So Shrewsbury isn't able to get as much of a runoff as he was at the beginning of this race. Jeff Ward changing his line up to kind of match that exit speed that he was getting. George Antill was another series regular who ended up not making this race event. So you see him there scheduled as out for this race. Battle continues there. Jeff Ward checks up big time. Looks like he's going to try to maybe look for a crossover. But it's just going to be hard to match the speed. Jeff Shrewsbury's still got a lot of exit speed off of this turn. We know he's got a lot of super late model experience on the asphalt side there. Coming into play here, he's really battling on this short track. Using his wits. Is there... Oh, man. Jason Taylor, maybe a clip on the wall. He's going to get... Got a little bit loose coming out of 4 there. Able to gather it back up on that front stretch, but he's going to lose. He's going to fall back to 2 seconds away, but he's still gaining on him though. He's pushing a little bit harder here. Jason Anderson back out. Looks like they might have been able to make some headway on those mechanical issues they were having. Got the brake bias, brake pedals, all that figured out. Yes, he's looking a lot faster here. Able to get underneath the 4. And make his way around the 10. And there was a huge... Man, that was crazy. Looks like we just broke the simulator there. There was some contact between Kevin Dye and Sonny Thompson that just completely fragged Sonny Thompson out of it. We see him there on pit road. Got some heavy damage. Heavy damage to that machine. The back end all torn up, both right and left sides. And take a look at Kevin Dye's machine here. Yeah, he got right side damage out of that. The 22 was took a slide through the grass, and as he was getting back onto the track, the 10 of Kevin Dye tried to drive up around him, make room, but unfortunately Sonny Thompson was there. They made contact, and virtually it sent Sonny Thompson through the fence. So heavy damage. He might not be able to finish with that thing, as they're going to start getting to work on it, see if they can get him back out. That slide through the grass, though, did end up giving up the lead. Jeff Shrewsbury is going to fall back to 3rd. That's going to put Jason Taylor here in 2nd. Chasing down Jeff Ward, who's now up to a almost 3-second gap on the second place car of Jason Taylor. Now they're going to have to race this thing all the way to get as close as they can to lap 50, go over if possible to stretch this fuel out if they want to make it a one-stop race. I believe that's what's on Jeff Ward's and Jason Taylor's mind. We've been seeing them not push the envelope, playing it real safe here. As Jeff Shrewsbury already comes back onto the track after his pit stop. And he's going to get loose. He's going to take it through the grass, gather it back up. He's got those fresh, cold tires now. Jason Taylor trying to get around him. Doesn't want to lose too much time, but I think he's going to have to give it up. As Shrewsbury, who is a lap down right now, but first out of the pit stop. He's trying to get that lap back in a hurry. Getting around the 9 of Jeff Ward. Still have a lot of pit stops to go. Sonny Thompson still on pit road. They're looking at about 40 to 50 minutes of repairs. Don't think they're going to be able to make it back out on time. Could be done for Sonny Thompson. Jason Anderson still trying to catch up from all those laps down when he had to go in, fix those brake bias issues. As he's going to pass Sonny Thompson this time by for position. That's going to put him up into 5th. Lap 41 now, getting close to that halfway mark. Jeff Ward the leader. Jason Taylor in second. Jeff Shrewsbury in third. Kevin Dye in fourth here. And Jason Anderson in fifth. As he's showing a lot more speed. Looks like he's got a lot more control of that car. A lot more happy with it. I don't think anyone's as happy as Jeff Ward is right now, though. His first week back after a vacation. Looking to gain up the points that he had lost. This is a great way to do it. Got bonus points for the pole, of course. And he's looking for bonus points for the fastest race lap. And of course getting the most points out of everyone on track for winning the race. And he's going to be taken into the pit stops. He's going to be beginning that. Jason Taylor's going to follow him right in. They made it to lap 44. It's going to be a real close race to stretch that fuel out from here. We're going to have to see if they can do it. Look for Jeff Shrewsbury. He's going to be going around trying to get a lap back to gain that lead. See if anyone's taking 2 tires here. Nope, that's going to be 4 for both Jason Taylor and Jeff Ward. But Jason Taylor's going to beat him out of the pits. Maybe there was I wonder if there was any damage or anything that he was having to get fixed up on Jeff Ward's machine that made that pit stop a little bit slower. There we see Jeff Shrewsbury. He has taken the lead now after that pit cycle. Now Kevin Dye, we saw him in the pits real early on. Definitely going to be making another stop here soon. Jeff Shrewsbury's going to have to make a pit stop before the end of this race. which he's going to be forced to relinquish the lead. But Jason Taylor and Jeff Ward here on the same strategy. Made it to lap 44 before they pitted. But that's gonna be real hard to stretch out those extra laps to make it all the way to the end. Let's see if they can do it. As we see, Jeff Ward right now is really pulling back on the reins here. Already kind of in fuel save mode as he's running about a half a second slower than all the laps he has earlier in this race. So he's definitely got to conservative on the mind here. Shrewsbury still got about looking like half a lap on the field here. And we'll be back right after these words from Dr. Squatch.
Listen up. The soap you shower with? It's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who open the pickle jar on the first try. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. Dare I say, soft. Oh, men aren't supposed to have soft skin? Yeah, well, men weren't supposed to cry during movies. And then they made the movie Rudy. He's so little. You want to smell like the forest? Boom, pine tar, we've got you. You want to smell like the sea? Boom, nautical sage, we've got you. You want to smell like you just got off a boat in the Caribbean? Boom, bay rum, we've got you. And with 6 more cents, we've got you covered no matter what kind of man you are.
Lap 53 gets clicked off by race leader Jeff Shrewsbury. Jason Taylor running second in front of Jeff Ward. We saw him beat him out of the pits and has been able to hold second so far. Jeff Ward in third, not letting the leaders get too far out from him as he's slowly kind of reeling them in. I don't know if he's pushing a little bit harder. We saw him saving fuel as soon as he came out of the pits. They had a pit on about lap 44. So it's going to be real hard for them to stretch it to that end of the race without having to pit again. So I don't know if it's the other 2 leaders that are starting to kind of pull back a little bit, or if Jeff Ward's really starting to put a little more pressure to it and reel them in. There's a battle for 4th place. Kevin Dye is 1 lap ahead of Jason Anderson. He went into the pits early to fix some brake bias issues. Came back out running a lot better. So we saw him ended up getting into the wall before he was able to make those repairs. That was that damage on the right front that you saw there. But he's got a couple laps to make back up on Kevin Dye. Sonny Thompson still in the pits after that huge wreck on the backstretch of Kevin Dye trying to get out of the way of Jeff Shrewsbury, who was merging back onto the track. And here we see a pass for the lead. Jeff Shrewsbury trying to pinch down that 51, slow him down as much as he can, but it's not going to work. He's going to have to take that as we see him Oh, get him a little bit of a kiss there. Gets that chrome horn. Some short track racing going on as he's going to get that lead back from Jason Taylor. And now we got Jeff Ward in the mix here. He's going to play a little bit smart, back up that corner just a little bit, stay out of the quarter panel with Jason Taylor. This is a 3-car battle for the lead. Jeff Shrewsbury, on older tire than these guys, still has to pit again for sure before the end of this race. Trying to do what he can to hold the lead right now as Jason Taylor's looking to the inside, gets up to the door. Gonna battle him door to door down the backstretch. Who's gonna get it into the turn first? And the 22 gets tight, washes it up the track. 51 on the inside. He's gonna clear him by a car length coming off of that. Here's the question, is he gonna be able to hold it through 1 and 2 though? And he does. Jeff Shrewsbury still with that late apex gives him a big run down the backstretch. But it's not going to be enough to hold off to defend that lead. He's going to give it up to Jason Taylor, who's now running like a scolded dog trying to get away from these guys. Jeff Ward's still working to get around the 22 of Jeff Shrewsbury here. They've kind of sorted it out right now, but we're 3 wide there for about 2 laps. Yeah, Jeff Shrewsbury looking like he's got a lot of wear on those tires. He's getting a little tight each turn. We see him chasing that thing up the track. Now he's right in the jaws of Jeff Ward as Jeff Ward's running the very bottom of that. Shrewsbury's either going to get super tight or give up that position as he knows he's going to have another pit stop coming up here shortly. Jason Taylor and Jeff Ward trying to push their cars to the limit and finish this thing as we got Shrewsbury right now going in to take that final pit stop. Let's see if this is going to be a splash of gas or some tire changes. I think he'd at least need to get right side tires. He's going to have to get something here. Because we saw him losing the grip. It wasn't just a fuel issue for him. Here he is, taking right sides for sure. And that's going to be it. Right sides and full tank of gas. Well, not full tank, but to what they're limited to. And he's going to spin the tires, getting out of there, get back on that track. Kevin Dye took some heavy damage. He's back in the pits. They're repairing that. Jason Anderson back in the pits with some more damage. Different contact than what Kevin Dye had, but short track problems really catching up to these guys right now. Jason Taylor still your race leader. So we see Jeff Ward starting to cut into that now. He's about 1 second back. We'll be watching that. Jeff Shrewsbury's a lap down after that pit stop. It's going to mean the world if Jason Taylor or Jeff Ward can stretch this fuel window out. If they can finish this race without him to pit again, we saw Jason Taylor get super loose there. If they can finish this race without pitting, they'll trap Jeff Shrewsbury a lap down and be guaranteed a first or second place finish. As Jeff Shrewsbury is doing everything he can to get that lap back and challenge these guys. Different strategy playing out here today. As we see Kevin Dye make it back out onto the track here along with Jason Anderson. They got those repairs fixed. Back out and back after it. Battle for the lead heating up here. Jeff Ward, we saw him a couple laps ago, 1 second away. Now he's right on the bumper of the 51 of Jason Taylor. It's a lot easier to defend a position than take one here, so look for Jason Taylor to be doing everything he can to keep that 9 car behind him, as we've seen no one else being able to roll the bottom as well as Jeff Ward does. That's how he was able to make it around the 22 at the first half of this race. Now we see him using that same strategy, reeling in the 51, way down in the bottom, tire in the grass, looking for that extra track there to make it work. He's making those turns as small as possible, putting a lot of pressure on him there. Jeff Shrewsbury's behind him, but still needs a lap to get around him here. This might be his chance. He's made it past the 9. He's on the bottom of the 51. 51 might even check up to give it to him, but that's going to let the 9 on the inside, but he's going to back out just a little bit. He's got to check up to make it around the tight side of this turn on the apron, not using any of the small amount of banking that they got here. Doesn't need it. He's got a car that can really roll to center here, as opposed to everyone else. It looks like everyone else is having to arc that turn just a little bit more, make it a little bit wider. Jeff Ward really able to use the bottom of this track, and that's really been helping him out. We've been seeing him all race long. Jeff Shrewsbury's got his lap back. He's trying to get around the track as the 9 gets to the inside of the 51. 51 trying to hold him off as much as he can, try pinching him down on entry, but he's going to get tight. They're still going to be door-to-door on the front stretch, heading into 1 and 2. 9's got a nose on him. 51's able to drive it in real deep on the outside, but he's going to lose that drive off. No! It's the 9 who's got to back out of the throttle on the inside. And they're going to have to go right back to work. 9 even under the yellow line for the pit commitment. Using that apron as much as possible. Still not able to get in front of that 51. Awesome battling with these two cars. Great defense on the 51 of Jason Taylor, holding back Ward right now. Really wants this win here. Now the 9's powering it on the outside. Driving it in very deep. But he isn't able to get as much speed as Jason Taylor did that time. The battle continues. Jeff Ward trying every line in the book here. Jason Taylor's holding it about steady. I'd say that middle groove, maybe 2 grooves up from the bottom of the racetrack. He's kind of holding that same line. It's working for him. He's able to defend with it. Nine's still going to work on the inside. He gets up to about the door with the nose. This time he might have it. Gets a little loose on exit, but he stays in the throttle. They're going to be door to door going into 3 and 4 this time. All the way down on the apron as Ward tries to clear the bumper. But he isn't. Jason Taylor's still able to keep a lot of speed. Drives it in a little too deep that time. Has to go way up the hill. But still door to door. It's hard to think of a time when someone was able to hold off Jeff Ward from a charge for this long. He's usually really good of either pressuring the guy to make a mistake or being able to drive to find a line that the other guy isn't able to hold him up on here. As we're coming to 20 laps to go, the end of this race, they're also using a lot of gas. Keep that in mind. They might need another pit stop here. If they do, it's going to hand the win over to Shrewsbury, who is back on the lead lap. But he's about 15 seconds back on the track. Hard to say if these guys are focused on just the battle or if they're trying to hold position and watch that fuel count. Nine here working all over the back of the 51. Wants to make it happen. As the battle's going on, Jason Anderson had a real tight car due to the fact of the brake bias issue. They had to tighten the car up during practice to get that thing to even hold. But after they fixed the brake bias issue, the car was too tight. He ended up getting into the wall. And that's going to retire him from this race. Kevin Dye still out on the track, running in 4th, guaranteed a 4th place now. As Ward, we see up front, still battling for that position. He's got a nose on him here. These two have about matched each turn. Shrewsbury still in 3rd. Both cars get loose on the front stretch, but that's going to hand it over to the 9. The 9 is going to lock in that position. Jason Taylor goes right back to work. 1 and 2 battling for the lead. That's Jeff Ward and Jason Taylor. Third place, Jeff Shrewsbury. He's trying to do everything he can to get back in this battle. About 14 seconds back. Kevin Dye, of course, locked in 4th place here, as he's got about 6 laps on Jason Anderson, so even if he was able to get back out, he'd have a whole lot of work to do trying to get that position. Pretty much impossible here. Jason Taylor going to work here. Lost that lead, wants it back. He's got about 15 laps to do it. Fuel strategy is on everyone's mind. How far can these cars go? They had to pit on lap 44. And we were thinking they were going to have to stretch it to really close to 50. So these guys could be very, very short on fuel. Might not even have enough to finish it. Shrewsbury now 13 seconds back. He could be getting into the picture here. They're creeping up on 10 laps to go. 51 hasn't been more than a car length away. Both of those cars, you can see they're getting loose, light on fuel. They're getting loose on every turn exit, as they're having to be real careful to power back down on these tires. The tires are used up at this point. Car with the newest tires on it is going to be Jeff Shrewsbury, as we see him putting down faster and faster laps, trying to catch up to these guys. Still about half a lap back, though. Jason Taylor's starting to check up just a little bit. He might be having to save a little more fuel than what the 9 car is. He's still committed to that middle line. That's been working for him all day here. 10 laps to go. Tell you what, the condition of these cars is quickly deteriorating. The lack of grip in the tires is making them push on entry and middle. And then the lightness of the rear end of these things is getting them loose on exit. With nothing to keep what tread is left on the back of these tires planted down. These guys are having to wheel these things all the way to the end of this race. Shrewsbury also having to back off here. He hasn't made any more gain on these two. Without a change of the line or some more speed out of the 51, Jeff Ward could have this locked up. This could be his race to lose here. We saw him get a little bit loose and use the wall to kind of straighten it out there on the last lap. Coming around to 5 to go. Jeff Ward still in the lead. Jason Taylor in second. He's about 2 seconds back. Jeff Shrewsbury running third, 15 seconds back. And Kevin Dye about 9 laps down due to some damage. Jason Anderson and Sonny Thompson both out of the race. And George Antill was not able to start the race. 4 laps to go, and Jeff Ward in the 9 machine is sitting pretty here. Like we said, his race to lose here. One small mistake could be an end to this perfect show. Or running out of gas. Still in the questions here. So we see Jason Taylor having to cut way back. He's given up about 9 seconds on that lead now. Shrewsbury quickly reeling in Jason Taylor now. This could be... Oh, he gets way too... drives it in way too deep there. Just as we said, but he's still cutting into Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor's almost turned into coasting each of these laps. Jeff Ward still just kind of rolling the throttle here. Coasting through the turns, trying to save it. Coming around for that white flag. White flag is out. Jeff Ford in first. He's got a backstretch, 2 turns to go to win this race. It's all his as long as he can coast this machine to the finish line. Checkers are out. Jeff Ford back from vacation wins that race. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Jason Taylor coming around now. That's how much he had to back off. Those two were battling door to door there until the end of the race. Coasting it around the finish line. Jeff Shrewsbury right behind him. Couldn't get up to that second place finish. Awesome race on the fuel strategy there. Awesome battling. We had some short track battles out there today between Jeff Shrewsbury and Jason Taylor. And then Jason Taylor and Jeff Ward racing door to door clean. And Jeff Ward can't even do any burnouts here. So he gets it fired back up. But he's ran out of gas. He's going to get something going here. Shake what fuel he can out of it. And there you have it. We'll be right back after these words from Modern Spartan Systems. And we'll see what the points are looking like.
Alright, we're going to add a bucket, coolant. Oh. Amps it right out. Alright, we'll add the bucket. See how long it takes to wear through the coating.
I'm headed to the racetrack.
All right, after this run here at Stafford, that's going to shake up the regional points by putting Jeff Shrewsbury up on the board there, right behind Matt in 8th. Then Jason Anderson was only able to capitalize on 2 points for this race, and that's going to push Jeff Ford way up there. 14 points lead over Jason Anderson going into the last race of the North Regional. It's going to be real hard for him to catch up. That brake bias really bit him in the butt here on this one. As far as the national points, though, pretty big change up. Jason Taylor moves up to 5th now. So those two are going to be tied in the regional points for the last race, and then they're still battling it out here for the national points in the big picture. But yeah, Jason Taylor moves up to 5th there, and Ryan Washington, Ty Marasco, both of them have been busy missing the season. So look for Jason Taylor to really make some gains here over the next few races going into the South Regional. That's it from us here at E-Racing TV and the Cesar Motorsports. We'll catch you guys next time, next Sunday. Take care.